Once, in a small, forgotten village, there stood an old, decrepit house at the edge of the woods. The villagers whispered tales of its cursed history, of the family that had lived there, mysteriously vanishing one stormy night. They said the house was alive, feeding on the fears of anyone who dared to approach. One chilly autumn evening, a curious young woman named Clara decided to explore the abandoned house, drawn by the thrill of the unknown. As she stepped inside, the door creaked ominously behind her, sealing her fate. The air was thick with dust and shadows danced along the walls, flickering in the dim light from her flashlight. Clara wandered through the grimy rooms, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. She stumbled upon a faded photograph of the family that once lived there, their smiles unsettlingly wide. In the corner of the room, an old piano sat, its keys yellowed with age. As she approached, she heard a faint melody playing, a haunting lullaby that seemed to call her name. Suddenly the temperature dropped, and a chilling whisper filled the air, repeating, "Stay with us." Clara's breath quickened as she felt an icy hand brush against her neck. Panic surged through her, and she turned to flee, but the door slammed shut, trapping her inside. Desperate, she ran from room to room, each filled with unsettling memories of the family that had vanished. Doors began to close on their own, and the whispers grew louder, echoing her deepest fears. She could feel the presence of the family, their sorrow intertwining with her own terror. As she reached the staircase, she heard a child's laughter echoing above. It was sweet, yet twisted, drawing her up into the darkness. Clara climbed, each step feeling heavier than the last. At the top, she found a nursery where a crib stood empty, rocking gently as if it had just been occupied. Suddenly the laughter stopped, replaced by a chorus of cries, pleading to be freed. Clara's heart raced as she felt the spirits swirling around her, their faces distorted with anguish. "Join us," they wailed, their voices piercing her soul. In a final act of desperation, Clara dashed back down the stairs, flinging herself against the door. It burst open and she stumbled into the night, gasping for breath. The house stood silent behind her, its dark windows like hollow eyes watching her escape. But as she fled, she could still hear the lullaby lingering in her mind, a reminder that the house was never truly empty. The villagers would find her the next morning, trembling and pale, but the old house would remain, waiting for its next visitor to feed on their fears and add them to its haunting melody.